Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim wa salatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. This is the part 3 for the one undertaking the journey for Hajj. As you can see in our itinerary here, the majority of the actions that will be performed will go from the 8th all the way to the 12th. There are certain locations that a person will be going to, and in these various spots a person will be making dua and dhikr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We'll see that we'll be in about IHRAM for about 50 to 55 hours, depending on when the Qurbani will be done on the 10th. You're going from the 8th to about the 10th in your ihram. You'll go from Mina to Arafah, you'll swing around to Muzdalifah and head back to Mina again, and the Jamarat are there for a person to engage in the stoning of the pillars. The base camp that a person will be staying in is in Mina, so that's where you're going to start off on when we're talking about the 8th day of Dhul Hijjah. This is what it looks like. You're going to see a lot of tents when you get into the area. After Fajr, you're going to put on your ihram again. Make sure to put on perfumes and all other parts of preparation prior to ihram like you did before. Put on ihram from any place. You don't have to go to the miqat or Masjid Aisha. You can just put it on from your hotel room even. Remember, of course, the ihram is fully made when a person makes intention for it. The intention for Hajj, Allahumma inni uridu al-hajja fayassirhu li wa taqabbal minni. Oh Allah, I intend to perform Hajj, so make it easy for me and accept it from me. Of course, the intention does not have to be made in Arabic, and you have to start your talbiyah, labbaik Allahumma labbaik, from afterwards. This is just to give you a brief reminder about the rules of ihram. Another reminder that is very important is that we should not be plucking out the grass from the haram or taking things that do not belong to us. People have a tendency to take quote-unquote souvenirs from Makkah, Medina, and they're just stealing carpet pieces, etc. This is not permissible for a person to do. We should head to Mina. You're going to head by the bus. Your day will be spent there from Dhuhr until the next day, Fajr. You want to remember on the day of Mina, it's called the day of Tarwiyah, which is the day of watering. So this is a day where a person will prepare themselves for the 9th, which is the day of ARAFAH, which is the most taxing day for Hajj. So you're going to plan your day. You'll have some talks and dhikr, some Quran to finish. You should be resting and relaxing really on this 8th day to prepare yourself for the next. You will pray in your tents, so you'll make a schedule for your salahs with your tent mates. And always remember, if you're muqim versus musafir, if you have to pray 2 rakats for Dhuhr and Asr and Isha, keep that in mind as well. So again, it's a normal day. You'll pray your prayers on the regular times. Remember, because you're going to be in ihram for quite some time, people have a tendency to use blankets, and so you want to make sure that you do not cover your head. Inside is going to be looking like this, so people are going to be sleeping right next to each other. There are slightly better sofas or cushions that people might have nowadays. You have to consider though that how is it to share a cabin with many others? When you go on any cabin trip, it can get very difficult. You have to share bathrooms, etc. So there will be difficulties, and I want to remind everyone that the reward for patience is Jannah. So be patient with everyone around you and ask Allah Ta'ala for help. Then after we proceed to the 9th of Dhul Hijjah. The 9th of Dhul Hijjah again is the main day where a person will head out to Arafah. You're going to head out after sunrise to Arafah. The Prophet ﷺ said, Hajj is Arafah. At Arafah, you're going to get there by Dhuhr time, and if you can catch the Imam of Hajj, you can pray both Dhuhr and Asr together with 1 adhan and 2 iqamas. If not, meaning if you cannot catch the Imam of Hajj, then you just pray both in their proper times. You pray Dhuhr when the time comes in, you pray Asr when the time comes in. The entire time is devoted to du'as and crying, so a person should make a list of du'as and a couple of a'mal to do, maybe 20-30 minutes of dhikr, 20-30 minutes of Quran, 20-30 minutes of du'a, and basically plan it out for about 5 to 6 hours. There are certain things that a person can do, inside or outside. You don't have to go outside, you can stay inside your tent and read this dua excessively. La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah, lahul mulku wa lahul hamdu wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. So make a dhikr routine for this on the day of Arafah as well. Lots of dua. You can connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through your du'as. Make a good organized list for each and every one. First for yourself, family, friends, and all Muslims, especially after Asr prayer also. And recognize this is a life-changing moment. Allah may never give me another Hajj again. I should be someone who's connecting with Him before I meet Him after I pass away. After sunset, you're going to head to Muzdalifah. Muzdalifah is a large campground where the sky is above you. There are no tents here. You have to keep that in mind. This is where the sleeping bag that you purchased prior to Hajj will come in handy, and the foam mats that you have. Because you depart from Arafah after Maghrib time, you're not going to pray Maghrib. You're going to go to Muzdalifah and pray Maghrib and Isha at the time of Isha. This is the procedures you want to keep in mind. 1 adhan, 1 iqama, fard Maghrib, fard Isha, sunnah Maghrib, sunnah Isha, and then witr. It doesn't require you to be with the Imam of Hajj. You'll just pray with whatever group you came with. There are bathrooms around in the area of Muzdalifah, but it's easy to get lost. So be very careful when you're going out. Everything looks the same in a large area where everyone is wearing ihram. So be careful of where you parked and where you are. Take 70 pebbles from Muzdalifah to use for stoning of the Jamarat on the following 3 days. You're going to use a water bottle because you're going to put the pebbles inside the bottle, and I'll give you the accurate size for the pebbles. Ask for forgiveness from everyone. It's a very important action to do at the night of Muzdalifah. Everyone's a human and makes mistakes. You can pray to Hajj as well, that's fine. And ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He accepts everyone's du'as, the magnificent du'as that we made on the day of ARAFAH. And sleep well. Try your best to get some sleep. The most barakah you'll find is the night of Muzdalifah because the sleep is very comforting. Pray Fajr Muzdalifah on the 10th of Dhul Hijjah. It is known as the day of sacrifice. What's happening around the world is Eid day, but the Haji will be busy for his Hajj practices, so he's not going to be performing Eid on that day. There are 4 important actions that you'll be doing. You're going to head back to Mina after Fajr. Number 1 is you're going to throw your pebbles at the big pillar. So when you reach back to Mina, you're going to go out and head to a location where all the 3 Jamarat are located. You head there, you're going to go up the stairs or the elevator to one of the floors, and you're going to go towards the largest Jamara. You're going to stop your talbiyah once reaching the Jamara. You're going to pelt it, and no dua is made afterwards. It is sunnah to pelt from dawn to noon, but the delay is permissible. You can even do it after Asr. After Maghrib is makruh. The second thing you're going to do on this day is sacrifice an animal. This will be done by your group. This is wajib for those people performing tamattu and qiran. You can sacrifice any in the haram. It's obviously more rewarding in Mina, and it's different from your normal qurbani. The third thing that you'll be doing is shaving your head and trimming a little bit for women, and you can go back to your regular clothes. The Prophet ﷺ made dua 3 times for the one who shaved his head, and only once for those who trimmed. We spent so much money, we went through so much exhaustion, and we spent so much time. We should return with the full reward of Hajj. So try your best to just sacrifice the hair and do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Once you're done with this, you finish most of ihram rules. Again, you can take off your ihram, but you cannot have relations with the spouse until tawaf al-ziyarah is done. That's the 4th thing that is done on the day of the 10th, is to perform tawaf and sa'i again. This tawaf though can be delayed until the 12th to finish it. So you can go all the way from on the 11th or the 12th. And some people like to go for the night, that's fine, or the night after. You have until the 12th again, it's completely permissible. Tawaf al-ziyarah, in this tawaf, you will do ramal, which is a jog in the first 3 rounds because you're going to do sa'i afterwards. There's no ittiba' where you expose your right shoulder because you're not in ihram anymore. You're going to do in regular clothing, right? And the final restriction is now lifted once you're done with this tawaf. You can go to the hotel for a shower and change if needed, but you should return to Mina and spend the remaining nights there. That is the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, to spend the time in Mina. A woman menstruating cannot enter the haram. We have to keep that in mind. And so she may have to delay it till the end. So please prepare beforehand for any issues that may arise and contact your scholars. So that way you have a set idea about what to do if a sister might experience her menstruating cycle at that time. The 11th and 12th, which are the days that you'll be spending back in Mina, are very similar in that you'll be pelting the 3 jamarat on both days. This is why you needed the pebbles from Muzdalifah. In second pelting, you're going to hit all 3 jamarat after zawal, meaning after Dhuhr time and before sunset. It's not permissible before noon, so make sure you do it after Dhuhr time. It is very congested between Dhuhr and Asr. That's why you can do it after Asr if you'd like. And you'll spend the night at Mina again, and again create a schedule for yourself. That way you spend your time in the most effective way. You pelt all 3 from smallest to biggest 7 times each. You're going to use your index and thumb fingers and hold the pebble like so and lightly flick towards it and make sure you hit the pillar. You make dua after the first and the second, both facing Makkah, and after the third you don't make dua, you just keep going. The 12th and last day is only after Dhuhr again. You will go and pelt the jamarat. You don't need to start right away. After Asr is fine again. Some people like to take all this stuff with them and head straight to Makkah and the hotels, and that's okay. There is a 13th day though, where you can go for another round of pelting the pillars. This is optional. All the obligatory actions are essentially all over. And so if you are leaving from Makkah, you leave Mina before Maghrib or latest before Fajr. If you stay that night for Mina and you come up on the next day, you're going to have to go and pelt the pillars for one more round. This is wajib to do. It's makruh tahrim to leave without pelting on the 13th. This pelting though can be done right after Fajr, it's fine. The final action that a person will do to complete their Hajj is tawaf al-wida', also known as tawaf al-sadr, the tawaf of farewell, or the tawaf of the chest. It's called the tawaf of the chest because traditionally people would walk backwards facing their chest towards the Kaaba, out of anguish and grief that they're going to be leaving this place. So you should try to do it for a couple of steps as much as you can without trying to trip over anyone from behind you. Tawaf Wida is wajib, but women are exempt if they are menstruating. This is not required for them. And this is the last thing that a person should be doing, with a lot of tears and regret that we could have spent our time in a better way, and regretting that maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala won't bring us back again here. And after this, the Hajj is complete. Allah accept from everyone. There is a journey to Medina, which inshallah we'll cover in another video. May Allah accept from everyone's Hajj and make it Hajj mabrur. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen.